How long in Florida?
Yeah, come on up.
Down in Florida.
She's in Florida now, yeah, I
And
see her.
she became a
I've never seen those kind of things.
high-end celebrity.
She's
And she, I guess we.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board is true self you got? For the record, can you state and spell your name? And your- And you're the owner of the subject property? Yeah, you can sit.
Have a seat, make yourself comfortable. So you want to put in construct an open deck and a patio, and is this one of those areas where they built out South Pole Court? Is this one of those where they built out the houses as much as they could?
Where's it on the agenda?
They've given dozens of
Well,
decks.
look at the survey, you see it's
Yeah.
a odd-shaped lot.
He's on the cul-de-sac, right?
Yeah, he's on a cul-de-sac.
This is off of South Bedworth?
Yes,
It's a cul-de-sac, right?
what is that?
No?
Yes, because, yes.
Yeah.
What's
Now
behind?
that, land is backside also open, and I want to keep the, I'm retired now, almost, 66 years old, so it's backside, I can enjoy the view from the backside, so.
What is behind you? What is behind your backyard?
Troy Meadows.
That's what I thought.
Do you have any minutes?
Behind you, is there any buildings, or is it just
No,
open?
no.
All
Like
open
a
fields?
Reserve, like animal reserve, on this side, like
Preserve.
yeah.
What is RCW, John?
That's the wildlife preserve.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so it's on the east.
This subdivision, it's gotta be 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if there was a court case involved with this. This is where wildlife, I think, claimed ownership of this property, and it wasn't theirs.
Yes, now I know. It's, as you're going South Bedworth Road, you're on the left-hand
Yeah.
side?
Yes.
Right by the high altar.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I remember that.
Behind, before
I remember approving that development. I remember when we approved that
Yeah,
development.
'Cause that came in front of you.
Yeah, that was a zoning, yeah, that was a zoning case. Yeah, I remember very well. So you're not going to encroach on anybody to the rear? Did you talk to your neighbors about what you're going to do?
Yes.
Nobody has any problems? It's not, and the deck, is that going to be open slat deck?
Yeah, open, yes.
Open, it's not going to be tongue and groove, right?
No.
Okay. Any questions by the board?
No.
No. Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given? I hear none and see none. Does it qualify as de minimis, or would somebody like to say how nice this is gonna be for the,
This is gonna be very nice for the homeowner, and it's gonna have minimal impact on anybody, because there's nobody for miles in the backyard.
there's a lot of raccoons and deers
Just a
back, that's
deer,
about all.
yeah.
Somebody frame a resolution?
I'll do it. Application 21:69, Mahesh Dubal, 20 South Hall Court, Block 764, Lot 63.04, Zone RCW, to issue or grant C variance to construct an open deck with stairs. Open deck with 2 sets of stairs and patio contrary to section 430-35, column 30.
Second, Josh Schutz.
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll?
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yes.
Parikh.
Yes.
Prasad. Prasad.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Willens.
Yes.
Hurricane.
Yes. Result is the variance is granted. We'll memorialize this at our next meeting, and then you'll be free to proceed. Okay?
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Glad you made it.
Don't let the raccoons get you out there, right?
So we have to adjourn
Yeah,
that?
motion to adjourn the 7 o'clock meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you.
This is the night of the election.
Time, so. There you go. 7:30. Announcement is made that adequate notice of this meeting has been given that is being conducted in accordance with NJSA 10:4-6 of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Nora, please call the roll.
Berkowitz.
Here.
Jaskowitz.
Here.
Kaplan.
Here.
Parikh.
Here.
Prasad.
Here.
Ready.
Present.
Willens.
Here.
Ira Kane. We also have
Present.
our board planner, Mr. Chadwick, our board engineer, Mr. Holloway, and our board attorney, Mr. King.
Here.
We're going to dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance because we did that at the first meeting this evening. At this point in this meeting, is there any member of the public that has any business to be brought to this board that is not on this evening's agenda? I hear none, see none. All right, so application 2130 and 2020, we can carry to February 9th. Oh, I'm sorry, the 2130 is being carried to December 8th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And application 2020 is being carried to February 9th. Do I have a motion to that effect?
So moved, Willens.
Second, Jaskowitz.
Any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
These are all with extensions.
These are all without notice and with whatever extensions are required.
Correct.
Correct, Nora?
Yes.
Mr. O'Neill, you want to come up?
I'm with this.
Good evening, Mr. O'Neill. I gotta tell you, in 31 years, I've never had an applicant, I'm not gonna use the word threaten me, but make demands like this, okay? You have to remember, and you make sure you tell your applicant, this is a volunteer board. We don't get paid for this, and when there's a mishap like there was that evening, people on vacation, people had to work, people were sick, people had family issues. I would have heard the case with 3 people if I could have, okay, because that's all I had left. But the bottom line is, I can't put you on the 8th because we've got the St. Christopher's case that night, and I know that's gonna run pretty heavy. But we will put you on the subsequent meeting, which I believe is when, Nora?
The 15th.
December 15th,
Week later.
okay? And you've already granted us an extension through December 23rd, if I see correct. So if you want to just somehow notice, Nora, that you've agreed to this in writing, because, you know,
I'll take that.
yeah, we've had issues where people have verbally confirmed things, and I'm not saying it's you.
I have full authority.
I understand that, but I'm a little, and, you know, you can just send her an email, and that would be more than, okay, that's fine. Thank you very much, Mr. It's a pleasure doing business with you. Okay.
Make a formal motion.
Thank you, Mr. Berkowitz. Do I have a motion to carry Pacific Outdoor Advertising to December 15th without further notice and with whatever extensions are required?
So moved.
Second ready.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right, so we've got 5 applications we have to work our way through. 2149, Sean and Linda McKenna. Did I do the resolutions?
I didn't see any.
No resolutions.
There's no resolutions.
Ma'am, you raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony you're about to give before the board is yourself you got. For the record, can you state and spell your name?
Linda McKenna.
And you're the owner of the subject property?
16935.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The witness is...
You may be seated.
Put this on right there.
You can be seated and just use the microphone, okay? So you're requesting plan and design standard, 0 existing, 5 allowed, 0 proposed. Impervious coverage, 38.98 existing, 30.81 allowed, and 40.08 proposed. You want to legalize a recently expanded 738 square foot driveway. It's one of those crazy zones. You are in, somebody see what zone this is?
R3.
In R3,
R3.
and she's only got 6,000 square feet.
Yeah, which is no.
It's 15,000, right?
Right.
Okay. So you have a substandard lot in the zone. So how exactly did this driveway happen?
Okay,
We moved there 34 years ago, and when we purchased the home, there was, black tarmac, all cracked, okay? The driveway was there. I'm honestly telling you, the driveway was there. We parked a Ford truck and a huge Chevy next to it in 1987. That's how wide the driveway was at the curb.
Right.
We touched nothing in the front.
Right.
And then it narrows in as it goes, otherwise you'd hit the house. So you can only fit 2 cars at the mouth, and then as it goes in, it narrows. So, in 34 years, we put in a whole new foundation. We added a second level, all legally, put a deck on the house. The driveway was the last thing we wanted to put on the house. So I looked on the, Parsippany website, and it said, you need a zoning permit if you're expanding the driveway. What we did was, we took 20 feet off the back of the driveway. The driveway, I have a new survey also, I had to get a new survey for Jennifer Veely. We took 20 feet off the back part of the driveway,
Right.
because the driveway used to be 75 feet, all the way to our back fence where you went in the yard.
Right.
But then when we built the house up and we put the deck on,
Right.
couldn't fit a car there no more, and then I put a garden. So there's no more blacktop there. We
Okay.
chopped it up, we put down
So
dirt.
you actually reduced the impervious
We
coverage.
reduced it by 20, yeah, from 75 to 50, so we
Substantial.
took 25 feet off. So, but way back when, we used to park all the way back there. Now we have 3 cars, but if company came, you would park all the way
You don't have
back.
street parking there, I would take it, is it?
Where?
Do you have street parking? You don't?
We only have enough in the front to put 1 car, but if it's a big car, it's kind of narrow for people to get through, so it's not too.
You don't have a lot of street parking.
And you
That's
can't park when it snows.
You can't park.
And we have 3 cars.
I know.
So we chopped off the whole front, the whole back of the driveway, so it's there. And also, we wanted to pave the driveway because my mom now is in a wheelchair, 84 years old, bring her up, or her walker, try and get her to walk up a messed up driveway to the back to get her in, because it's a little safer to get her in the kitchen than in the front door. So we decided, this is the end, the house is done, all complete inside, we're gonna put the driveway in. So I looked on the website and it said expansion of driveway. So when the guys came to give me estimates, I called 4 different places. I told them I didn't need a permit, and he says, no, you're not expanding it, we're resurfacing the tarmac that was there. And he says, you got a really good pad here, so I don't even have much leveling to do. We're just gonna taper it a little towards the road, which, very slow taper. So he came and he did it pretty quick. I had to give him half the price of the driveway. And then the town shows up at my house, that some neighbor called the town. I have a lien on my house, by the way, off record. Not that it has anything to do with this, but that is the reason why somebody called and got us in trouble purposely because of the lien, because I won't join the country club in Rainbow Lakes. There's 30 of us that have liens on our house. 2 of my neighbors are here that also have a lien. And they just figured, oh, we'll get even with her, because I have signs out in front of my house, because that's my civil right. We have a lawsuit in progress, and they're just demanding money from us. So anyway, that's a different story. So then we got the driveway done,
Can we just back up a little bit?
and now we got in trouble.
Okay.
We don't know
You
why.
bought the house in 86.
What's that?
You bought the house in 86,
87.
87. When you bought the house in 87, the driveway was, for all intents and purposes, the width it is right now.
It is the exact same footprint. No, it's not. Now it's shorter. Now it's
No, I'm
25
talking
feet
about the
At the
problem,
mouth,
the issue.
The same,
Okay.
it was
Now,
like
when was-
chunks of tarmac with weeds growing in it. It was a handyman special house.
When was the house built?
Probably around 1930. My
Okay.
deeds go back to 23, but it was just land in 23, because I
Right.
did a deed search back to 23.
All right,
The house was
let
built-
our-
it's a bungalow.
let our resident historian to talk.
It's a
now.
summer bungalow.
You said you bought the house, the driveway was there and it was bigger.
87, yeah.
Okay, when you talked to Jennifer, what was her response to saying this was there?
What was her response to saying it was there?
When you told her it was there, how did she respond?
She never responded. I had to get, my son spent tons of money on aerial photos, which were very blurry, but I paid $603 to Parsippany for an aerial view that I'd never seen, because all the aerial views I got were so fuzzy, I couldn't even see the driveway in 87, because the trees were blocking the
Okay,
the
so
view of the,
what did you get from the township?
nothing.
Okay.
No aerial views,
All
no.
right, so they
I
basically,
submitted some aerial
basically
views.
came down to she didn't have anything to base a conclusion that it was there because you couldn't see it.
Pre-existing
No,
non-conforming.
It was, like I said, it was
Okay,
chunks of black tarmac
we
with
beat
cracks.
that, we beat that up, okay.
Okay, all right.
It was there.
Any questions by the board?
Very difficult to shovel.
I have a question. How is it if you reduced the driveway that your impervious coverage is now going up from what was existing?
Maybe because of the deck. The deck, I had a variance for the
The
deck years ago.
Deck isn't on here.
No, she took that away before. That, she telling you the history, she cut that back.
It's not
Oh,
in-
that wasn't just
Not in the
now.
calculation.
Right,
The deck was about 4 years ago. I was here 4 years ago.
Right, but you, when did you redo this driveway?
When did I blacktop it?
Yeah,
We put the blacktop on, September of 2020, September 11th.
and
And the deck was done before
shortened
that.
the driveway by 5 feet or whatever.
no, that was done
25 feet.
before.
Oh, a long time ago.
Oh, that was,
yeah. I have
thank
a
you.
garden
Okay,
there for
thank you.
years, yeah.
So what are you being ratted out for?
So they ratted me out and said my driveway was only 9 feet. There's no way my driveway was 9 feet. I parked 2 cars wide, a truck and a car.
So you're claiming that you have neighbors that are claiming that
Oh, yeah,
You
your
expanded.
driveway
oh,
was-
yeah,
that you expanded the width of the driveway.
exactly. They put a lien on us because we won't join their club, and they hate us because we have signs out in front of the house. They try to get me in trouble for that, but that's my civil right to have a sign out in front of my house.
But we're here to hear your case on the driveway.
Right,
So
I know, but that, it ties in because they wanted to rat us out.
But that's
We
not
never had
part of-
problems with the neighbors, we love our neighbors,
That's not what we rule on, okay?
but
So-
they went after us because of
What's
the
this
club.
photo
I
here?
feel sorry for you, but
What's that?
back to the,
What's this?
What is what?
What's this photo of?
That's my driveway.
That's your house.
Before we put the.
And you got a bunch of
blacktop.
other houses here too, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I have a board here. I just wanted to show the town that, because they're telling me that.
If you wanna mark that?
They're telling me that I didn't have a
Is that what
I
buffer.
think we
Is
have
that what
those.
Yeah,
you've
you
given
have
us?
them all. All these addresses, all these driveways that go right up to each other. Some of them have a board or bricks or whatever. They're all narrow lots in Rainbow Lakes. There's no way you can have a buffer. You know, these houses were built in 1930 as summer bungalows. My house was a summer bungalow.
All over town, Mr. McKenna.
That's what it was.
All over town.
And they're
Lake
all narrow
Hiawatha, Lake
lots.
Parsippany,
I don't know
Indianville.
anybody that has space on the side of their driveway in Rainbow Lakes.
excuse me, in 1987, when you bought the house.
And I think I submitted these pictures. This is what it looks like now, my son, and this is when he was little. So this driveway went all the way to the back. This is the old house. This is the new house.
You're killing this boy.
So it's got a foundation now, and you can see it came all the way to this fence. This fence is gone now because my deck is here.
So your son grew up very nicely there, that's good, but when you bought the house in 1987, I just want to make sure I understand. The
87.
the driveway was 20 feet wide or thereabouts, okay?
When we bought the house in
Yes.
87,
Yes.
it's the same, it was the
I
same as it is
understand.
now.
I-
Approximately 15 and a half
Excuse me.
inch,
Excuse
15
me.
and a half feet wide.
Okay, but it was all broken up.
All
Through the
broken
course of the
tarmac.
years, through the course of time, okay, you did not recover that surface, right?
We didn't recover it. We would throw gravel on
I
it to
understand.
try and make it flatter to walk
I
on, because I
understand.
was always falling with my high
Okay,
heels
fine.
going to work in the
Got it.
morning.
But then when you resurfaced the area, the area you resurfaced was larger than it had been before,
Smaller,
smaller. Okay.
50 feet. It's only 50 feet long now. It used to go
Same width, but
75.
not as long.
Same width, but the width that you had covered, okay, you had let go, just stand for a while. So a neighbor suggested that you put the width on wider, is that correct? That's why they're faulting you?
Whoever called said that the driveway wasn't that wide,
I understand.
but it was.
I understand, they said it wasn't, and it was. Would they have been able to say that because it wasn't that wide for a while until you repaid the whole thing and had it redone?
No, it's the same width,
Okay, thank you.
exactly. Exactly the same
Any
width.
other questions by the board? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given this evening? I hear none and see none. You've given us a reasonably good presentation. Is there anything else, a good presentation, is there anything else that you want to add, or are you happy with what you gave us?
I'm happy with what I gave you, but I do have a question regarding the aerial photo. I was charged by the town $603, and it was paid for the historical aerial photo. And my son would love to have seen what they found, because he couldn't find nothing, and he's a computer engineer, I mean, he's an
We
engineer,
can't
he's
answer that.
smart.
We'd have to
But
talk
you,
to-
Couldn't find
the town,
anything.
the town has these photos?
Somebody has a photo
And
that
you've never
charged
seen-
me
you've never seen-
$603, and when I Oprah requested it,
No, we don't have any
That's
photos.
funny.
John, in part of his review, went on Google or something and did a down view. I don't know what he uses. It's nothing that we have.
I
The
sent an
reason-
Oprah request in, and the woman responded back to me that they can't show me the photo, that it's viewed online, but at least give me the website. We would love to see what it looked
Probably
like,
Google.
what they had. For $603, I feel we have it right.
Who did you get this from?
It was an Oprah request to Parsippany.
Okay, and somebody responded.
Yes, it was a woman. Could it be a Susan?
Sue's no longer here. Her response is that we did not have that document she requested because that was something that the board planner viewed as part of his review for your application. Though, real quick, I want to say, are you
Oh,
speaking about this
you're talking
survey
about me?
before?
Yes.
I'm talking about you.
We have we pay extra to get a Google, search.
What's
So,
that?
I pay extra to get a Google search.
But I'm not
It's
allowed
part
to
of my
see
company.
it, but I can't see it for
It's not yours.
$600?
I didn't charge you $600.
I got charged $600. I have it in my portfolio.
You probably
I had
got-
to send
ma'am,
$2,500
probably got-
extra to the
Ma'am,
town.
ma'am, please, you
Calm
gotta, you gotta
down.
let people talk other than you. With regard to that 600, that may have been for his full review, which included other research, looking at all the pictures.
Oh, it
So
said
it
it
probably
was-
wasn't just for a view of Google. And he can't,
Okay, I get it. You're complaining that I charge the town $600 to review your application. That's what you're complaining about.
Well, she didn't know that,
I'm
but
almost
that's what it
positive it
is.
said it was $603 for the aerial photo, to view the photo. And I wanted to see what it
No,
looked like.
the photo comes out of my office. I go to your site most of the time and try to go back and find out how old the house is and et cetera, just to make sure all the facts presented are accurate, and then I write a report of findings. And that's what you get charged for.
Unfortunately, those are the procedures, okay? The procedures are, we have professionals, we have an engineer, we have a planner, and they review these applications. We have to pay them, so we charge you for them to review the work. So, John's saying there is no document. He may have looked at something online, but there is no
So
document.
nobody in the town gets to see photos that they got charged for. That's just.
You weren't charged for the photos.
You got charged
You
for.
got charged for the
I'm gonna look at the
review.
paperwork when I get home.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application? In support of this application? I hear none and see none. Someone like to make, we don't need to go into conference on this one, do we? Someone like to make a recommendation? I mean, there's a lot of open items here, and
You're gonna choke on
there, you have to go back 40 years. There's no way we can prove one way or the other. I think we have to go based on the testimony of the applicant. So, will somebody frame a resolution now, okay, please?
Yeah, I think from the testimony given and the pictures that have been given, it seems to make sense that the driveway was reduced in size, and all the person did was to resurface what was already there. So I find it to be de minimis in nature, and I'm gonna vote for it and recommend my colleagues do so.
You want to do the resolution then, too?
Sure. Application 21:49, Sean and Linda McKenna, 169 Rainbow Trail, Block 113, Lot 2, Zone R3, recommend granting a C variance to legalize an existing 490 square foot driveway expansion contrary to section 430-275X and section 430-35, column 13.
Second ready?
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Berkowitz,
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yes.
Parikh.
Yes.
Prasad.
Yeah.
Ready.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yep.
That was a yes?
Yes, it is. I
Willens?
don't have a mic.
Yes.
I don't have a desk, I don't have a mic. Nothing I can do about it.
Willens,
Yes.
Hurricane.
Yes, the result is the variance is granted. I want you to understand something. We're the good guys, okay? We'll work with you as much as we can to get you your variance. We don't charge you hundreds of dollars, that's all administration. We don't make up all the rules, we don't make all the paperwork up. We just, you know, my goal is to get residents fair and equitable variances where necessary.
Forgot one thing, we don't get paid either.
Well, we got our Christmas bonus.
With all due respect, she was told information that she could only go by. So, she was charged 600 some odd dollars for whatever. I'm sure she didn't pull this out of the air. I'm sure she was told it was for aerial photos. I have a feeling you were misinformed, and if you were, we're sorry, on behalf of the township. But that's that. And when I heard the actual expense, I thought that was pretty steep for whatever needed to be accomplished.
I had to send in 2,500.
This is not part of the
I
application.
understand. Just let me-
There's.
If you check back with Nora, if there is some way that we can get you either a link or a website or
I would
something.
love to see it.
So check back with Nora sometime and maybe she can help you out. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, application 2168, Lawrence Zay, is that it? Did I say?
Yes, sir.
So you raise your right hand, you swear firm testimony about the board's truth to help you God?
I do.
And for the record, you're the owner of the subject property?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Wait, and I do?
So you're 13 Carriage Road, is that,
Yes, sir.
Mount Tabor?
Mount Tabor.
Okay. You're in an R3 zone, you want to construct a 238 square foot open deck and stairs. Front yard, 0
How
proposed.
big is this lot?
I don't know, I'm going to get to that. Yards and courts, you want 44%, impervious coverage, you want 59%.
Do you know how big your lot is by chance?
I'm sorry?
Do you know how big your lot is? It looks like it's 50 by
I have the,
60 and then some.
3,795 square feet.
You found it?
That's
Oh,
about right.
okay.
In a zone that requires a minimum lot of 15,000 square feet.
No, there's, I think.
Right? R3, 15,000?
I don't
No?
think there
yeah,
are three
15,000 is an
I think I
R3.
just saw
Right,
R3.
Mount Tabor has an
It's R3.
R3.
there. Okay, it's the back,
Beyond
okay.
me.
You're in the backside, okay.
Tell us what you want to do and why you want to do it.
Okay. I put together a little format here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
My wife and I live at 13 Carriage House Road, seeking approval to construct a 10 by 13 deck with stairs. We've lived in Parsippany our entire life, and in this Mount Tabor house for the past 20 years. I'm an active member of the Mount Tabor Volunteer Fire Department for the past 55 years. When we built our home, a door was included on the side deck, on the side of the house for a deck. At the time we applied to build, the cost of construction was a little bit higher than we anticipated, so contractor eliminated the applications for permit for the deck. We use the front porch daily in the nice weather, but it's not designed to accommodate a table, chairs for outdoor family dining. As you saw in your site visit, we are a corner lot. The deck will not directly abut with any neighbor's property. In fact, because of the terrain, the neighbor across from the front of our house is at a much higher elevation than the proposed deck. In the rear, the deck will be higher than a one-story structure that has 6 garages with no living space in it. On the corner itself, the deck will not only be higher than the intersection, but it'll also be screened by 2 pine trees and a maple tree. Our visual impact to the neighborhood will be completely minor. Like everybody in this room the last 2 years, it's been an unlikely that everybody could imagine. Bonnie and I, my wife, are very lucky to have 2 daughters, their spouses, and our grandchildren all live in Parsippany. Our social lives are now centered at our home and small group gatherings. Our house has become the eating and entertaining location of choice, and we are delighted that they want to spend their time with us in Mount Tabor. We're looking forward to the gathering on our deck in the nicer weather. With the recent completion of the township curbing, drainage, and road improvements around my home, it has made the perfect ideal time to construct our deck. Our construction impact will be minimal, but our property will be greatly enhanced. Thank you for your attention to our request.
It's gonna be, open deck, not, tongue and
Yes, sir.
groove, open deck. The size, it doesn't seem to be an extraordinarily large deck.
I just have a question about that, because he may have said, did you say 10 by 13?
10 by 14, I'm sorry.
Okay, because our
With-
paperwork is
Actually, it's
14
10
by
by 17, but the stairs are 3 feet. I think
It says 17 by 14, is that correct?
Right.
17
Did
by
I say
14.
13? I'm sorry.
You said 10 by 13,
I'm sorry.
so it's 17 by 14.
Right.
Okay.
My apologies.
That includes the stairs, though, right? That's-
Yes, sir.
Is there a drainage line that's gonna run under this?
Actually, where the deck is, the deck finishes and the drainage line is here.
It's
And
showing,
that
on
drainage line is,
it's showing on your survey a 12-inch line of some sort. Looks like a drainage pipe.
and that drainage line is, from what the engineer, Paul McNeil, told me was, 15 feet underground.
Underground?
Underground.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There's no easement with it.
No, sir.
So this is some old line from Mount Tabor where
Yes, sir.
Used to wonder, 10.
Exactly.
I mean, we could get really government involved here, but I don't see any reason. It's there, they don't have an easement.
Yeah, there may be a deadline.
If it breaks sometime, they're gonna have to deal with it. If it's 15 feet underground, I don't think they'll ever find out.
Questions on the right? Questions on the left?
No.
Any questions by members of the public? I hear none, seeing none, Mr. Zay, there's nothing else you'd like to add, right?
No, sir.
Okay. Are any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application, in support of this application? I hear none and see none. Someone like to make a recommendation? Please?
This is a fair request for the enjoyment of the family members. So I'm in favor of this.
Volunteer to frame a resolution?
I'd like to add a comment about the drainage pipe, even though it is deep.
Yes.
I really think an easement should be provided, especially, building over it is not a great situation.
How do we go about that, Chaz?
The town would have to,
Right, that's also the township engineering part.
Do we have to make it subject to that, or is that?
Yeah, I would make it subject to township engineer looking at the, whether or not they need an easement.
The township.
To do what, Chaz?
Whether or not they need an easement, an access easement for the 12-inch RCP pipe.
Okay.
Because they want to build over an easement, that's typically.
there's no easement.
There's no easement, yeah.
Right, but
Okay.
if there's an existing pipe, if the pipe is there, then there might be the need for an easement.
Okay, but any fees that are incurred has to be the responsibility of the town, not this applicant.
Correct.
Okay. Did you get that?
Yep.
All right. Someone would like to agree to that?
You ought to put in, along with that, if the township has
If they want.
jurisdiction.
If the township.
Because the drainage system in Mount Tabor was under the association
Right.
for a long
that's
period of
right,
time.
yeah.
Then it may
But
be
you
banned.
just said the township came in and improved things. So I don't know whether they have jurisdiction or they did it as neighborhood improvement.
And that deck really won't be covering won't be going over that far where that
The
line
pipe's
goes through
going
the
under your
back.
deck. The pipe's under your deck.
No, he said it's not going under the
No,
The survey shows it is.
There might be a lawn
Stops.
inlet or something over the pipe, but it looks like the pipe goes beyond your property, based on the survey.
So do we get in there that he's not responsible?
He's not responsible for any of the fees.
Okay.
We're gonna make sure you're not responsible for any of the fees if they have to do anything, okay? Do I have a second to that resolution?
Second.
Any discussion? Nora, please call the roll.
I apologize, who made the motion?
Bernie.
I did not, but
I will.
Second Bernie. Second Bernie.
Gotta get an honest lawyer.
Ready to continue? Berkowitz?
Yes.
Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Kaplan?
Yes.
Parikh?
Yes.
Prasad?
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Snyder?
Yes.
Willand?
Yes.
Ira King?
Yes. Result, this variance is granted. We'll memorialize this at our next meeting, and you'll be free to proceed.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy,
Thank you
okay?
very much for.
You did a nice job, presenting to us, honestly.
So I don't think.
That was very, that was helpful.
Thank you.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Good
And
night.
thank you for your service on the fire.
Amen.
God bless you.
Thank you
It
again.
is.
Application 2170, James Johnson, 31 Vale Road. C variance to construct a patio extension gazebo and a 6-foot-high solid fence. Good evening, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening.
Raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give before the board is the true self you got?
Yes,
And for the record, you're James Johnson,
yes,
and you're the owner of the subject property.
I'm the owner, my wife and children.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Mr. Chairman, the witnesses sworn.
Okay, so we've got the front yard gazebo and patio, existing 22 allowed, proposed 22. Accessory rear yard patio, 6-foot existing, 10-foot allowed, 6-foot proposed. Fences and walls, existing not allowable, not applicable, 4 allowed, 6 proposed. Okay, fences and walls and a 50% see-through solid. Building coverage 18.17, allowed 20 and proposed 20.57. You want to tell us what you'd like to do and why you need a 6-foot-high solid fence?
Yes. I would like to, receive permission to follow the same footprint of my see-through fence. And for the, Pawnee side of the property, from the back of the property to the, portion of the deck, to have that as a 6-foot. The purpose of that is we are a special needs family, with my daughter's, sensory, issues, with her also with spatial awareness. It would increase, greater safety awareness for her. Additionally, Pawnee Avenue is very busy. As you know, it serves as a cut-through for, local buses, and also those in the community. They will cut from Vale Road to go to other sections. That's the first section. So therefore, it's a lot of busyness. It also serves as a spot where some people wait for the local Parsippany bus. So therefore, as they're getting off, they could wave to me on the deck. This, fence would allow greater privacy, a little bit more of a sanctuary for us, especially for my daughter. For the, pavers, this summer, we got all the documentation to do pavers. However, because of the setback, as you see on the survey, the setback is 3 feet off the edge of the deck. So therefore, we're asking, could we be allowed that extra 3 feet so the pavers will evenly align with the deck? As you see on the survey, the setback is different. We're also asking for permission to follow the footprint of the deck to allow for a second gazebo, in order that during the summer, we could fully use it. You know, it gets very hot, we are a corner lot, so therefore, we get full sun, and the deck becomes, very hot. So therefore, the gazebo or the coverage would allow greater use for our family.
You say you have an existing fence along Pawnee?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
approximate distance from the street to the fence?
I don't have the number here. We did, receive the permits for it, so it does align with,
Yeah, I mean, is it 15 feet from the street? Is it 10 feet from the street?
I would say it would be, well, I know it's 1 foot off of the property line. So we follow that rule. So we find the property line.
I'm trying to understand the amount of greenery you have between the street and the fence.
Okay. From the street on Pawnee side to the fence, I would say is at least 9, 10 feet.
Oh.
I would estimate.
Is there a sidewalk there?
No, there's no sidewalk.
Are there
on
any
Pawnee side.
trees or bushes?
Well, I was thinking-
There are 2 trees on the Pawnee side.
Let me just go, let me
Good.
just finish over. Okay, so we don't do 6-foot fences, okay? We only under really, really special circumstances do we do 6-foot solid fences.
Okay,
Normally, we do 5-foot with 1-foot lattice or sticks,
okay.
okay? Now, since you're telling us that you have a family issue and you really want the privacy, is that correct?
That is true.
If we did a 6-foot fence with the top foot basket weave or stick, would that be acceptable?
Um,
I'm gonna,
it would be, because
okay.
it will.
Now, I'm gonna ask, you one more thing.
Yes.
Since you have about 9 feet between the fence and the,
It's probably
street.
10.
And that's against.
10 feet, let's say 10 feet, would you be willing to plant some, Norway spruce? And they don't have to be big Norway spruce,
Do the arborvitae.
they could be 6-foot,
Arborvitae's.
no,
Spruce
arborvitae, the deer will get them in the winter.
No, the green giants.
All right, you can talk to the town forester and plant something that will break that look of a white vinyl fence to the people that drive by. Because we don't, it's,
I understand.
okay? But I'd be willing, I think the board would be willing, under the circumstances, to give you 6 with 1 foot open. I have that in my house right now, 6 foot with one open, and believe me, you can't, there could be somebody standing on the other side of the fence, you never see. And some vegetation along there that will grow, and eventually we won't even see the fence from the street. All we'll see is greenery. Is that kind of,
That's very helpful, thank you.
Very good, okay.
Thank you.
So that takes care of, that, hopefully we can get past that. Now, you have a large lot for your zone. You have 8,000 square feet in an R4 zone, which only requires 6,000. Unfortunately, you're on a corner, so you have some
Yards.
That's your yards.
building coverage. You're only .57 over the maximum permissible, so that's not.
The rest of them are close.
And the front yard, 22 feet, that's because it's a corner lot.
That's
existing.
Yeah.
It's
We're
below,
okay.
it's below allowed.
The only thing is really the fence.
Yeah.
Well, 22 is closer.
Yeah, but
25 is
but it's already, it's already there.
Yeah, it's already there. Does anybody see anything here that I'm not seeing?
No.
No.
I have one item, when you deal with the township forester, you have to coordinate, because these plantings are gonna be within the right of way. If the fence is only 1 foot back from the property line, then all the plantings are gonna be in the municipal right of way between, on the Avenue side. So, I just want to coordinate what's allowed with the township forester.
Yeah, and to that end, I mean, we want to make sure that this is indeed 10 feet, because as I know that property, I believe there was an application right across the other side of the street where a 6-foot fence was approved, and it's, looks like very compoundish, right at the edge of the street. So you may think it's 10, I want to make sure it's 10 feet, because I too don't want to see a fence right at the edge by that curb. But I guess to Chaz's point, we got to make sure that there's enough room for plantings too in that easement
Why don't
area.
you make the resolution that the fence will be installed 10 feet from the, Pawnee curb? So, most streets in town, they're 10 feet on either side. Maybe this isn't, your fence might be a little more than a foot onto your property, but that isn't, I don't think, substantive, so.
We're just trying to make everything,
So the guy who installs it, he can do it easily, he knows where the curb is, 10 feet in, that's where the fence
I understand.
goes. Well,
any other questions or comments? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given this evening? I hear none and see none. There's nothing else you'd like to add, right?
Yes, regarding the permission for the second gazebo on top of the deck.
That's all fine,
No problem.
all fine. We're good on all the other points.
Okay. And then lastly, the extension of the pavers an extra 3 feet in order to line up.
That's fine.
Thank you very much.
Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application, in support of this application? I hear none and see none. Someone like to make, this is an interesting one, but someone like to make a comment as to why we're approving it?
I think we're approving it because, as you have expressed, you have a child with special needs, and you're being on a corner, you need the privacy, and it seems like it's the right thing to do. So I will be, voting for it, and, I think my colleagues should as well.
Thank you for your eloquence. Volunteer to frame a resolution?
Let me do it. Application 21:70, James Johnson, 31 Vale Road, Block 561, Lot 15, Zone R-4 to issue or grant a C variance to construct a patio expansion gazebo on the existing open deck and 6 foot high, 5 foot solid and 1 foot lattice fence contrary to section 430-35, column 4, 9 and 10, section 430-11, A and B.
Second, Jaskowitz.
Did we get the vegetation also?
Subject to the,
Subject to the forestry department for the recommendation of the vegetation.
Any discussion? Nor call the roll.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yes.
Parikh.
Yes.
Prasad.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Willing.
Yes.
Hurricane.
Yes. Results of variance is granted. We'll memorialize this at our next meeting, and you'll be free to proceed. Enjoy.
Gentlemen, ladies, thank you very
I
much.
hope everything works
Good
out.
luck. Yeah.
Thank you. Okey dokey. Is that it on residentials? So we're going to 2159 Teva Pharmaceutical, 400 Interpace Parkway. C variance to install a sign or signage.
No, I don't, I get paid.
Good evening again, Mr. O'Neill.
No, I don't get paycheck from them. I get from the-
Yeah.
3 years ago, maybe.
Enjoy. Enjoy.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Joseph O'Neill here on behalf of Teva Pharmaceutical. This is an application for additional signage on the site. While my witnesses are setting up, I'm going to go ahead and just give a brief introduction to this application. What the pharmaceutical company, which is an existing tenant there on the site, is proposing to do is to put signage in each of the flower beds near the front doors of the existing building. Now, if you've been to the site, which I bet many of you have, you'll see that it is a complex campus loaded with a lot of signage. There appears to be no record of a 2010 approval that my office did for a signage package at that site. So what we have done is we have noticed for all the signage, again, that's existing there on site. We'll run through it, but these are just directional signs, or they were directional signs that were approved previously. Now
You've
they're
been
all
here
considered-
before to have these approved?
Not these two signs.
But no, these others?
These other signs were just, this is cleaning everything up.
Okay.
Were they on the site plan originally, or no?
They were on our original site plan, but there's no record that Mr. Chadwick of this approval in the zoning office, so we're just gonna go ahead and do it again. So with me is Mr. Cavallero, who's going to run through what it is we're requesting, if I can go ahead and have him.
Sir, raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give before the board the true self you got.
I do.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name?
Edwin, Edwin, Cavallero, Cavallero.
And you're a licensed planner,
I'm a licensed engineer.
licensed engineer, and all your licenses are in full force and effect?
Yes, they are.
You're licensed in New Jersey?
Yes, I am.
And you provided testimony before either this board or other boards in New Jersey?
I have provided testimony before this board for the Flemington Fairing Pharmaceutical.
Oh, thank you. Mr. Chairman, he's sworn in, qualified.
Mr. Cavallero, if you could just orient the board as to what it is we're requesting here. Let's mark that as A1 for the evening.
You want to give him this microphone so we can hear him?
No, that's true.
You got what?
Daycare? Oh, yeah, the basement.
We have that dog for daycare.
Go ahead.
I tell you, it's good business.
Are we good? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Our first exhibit is entitled Proposed Signage Dash Aerial Exhibit. It was prepared by Colliers Engineering and Design. It's dated November 3rd, 2021. The aerial shown in the background is from Google Earth from 2020. Just to provide the board some reference, Upper Pond Road is on the south side of the property. Interpace Parkway is a local road and is also located on the west side or the left side of the exhibit. That road proceeds onto Walsh Drive, which is along the north westerly side of the property. There are basically offices and industrial facilities basically on all sides of the property. We are applying basically for a bulk variance relief for 2 additional proposed monument signs on lot 4305 and block 136. The project is located in a specialized economic development zone 5, which permits office and research laboratory and also parking decks. The property is currently an office campus. It has 3 office buildings and 1 parking deck. There are currently 15 existing freestanding signs and 1 building-mounted sign on the property. They're all building identification and entrance signs, and they're basically located throughout the site.
Let's mark that as A2 for this evening.
Basically, our second exhibit is an enlarged monument detail sign, and that was shown on basically the proposed signage exhibit plan that was prepared by Colliers Engineering and Design, and that was dated March 12th, 2021. Basically, all we did was enlarge the sign for the exhibit. It's the same sign that's shown on the plans that were submitted. We are basically requesting for a variance relief from section 430-129B, parentheses 3B, close parentheses, for the number of signs. We are proposing again 2 freestanding signs for the tenant, where only 1 freestanding sign is permitted. The sign is approximately 4 feet 5 and 16 inches high by 8 feet 5 3/4 inches wide, and has an area of 54.7 square feet, and that includes the stand, and are proposed to be located basically on the north and south side of the building. I have to advise the board that while I was preparing my testimony here, I noticed that there was an error in the square footage. The square footage that is noted on the application is correct, and it was 54.7 square feet. apparently on the, let me switch here for a minute. Apparently on the exhibit, it was noted as 57.4. Again, the application showed the right information, 54.7. I just wanted to bring that up to the attention of the board. The height of the sign is 6 feet and a quarter inch basically from the existing grade. The sign face is made up of white aluminum, and the sign is not lit, and it is consistent with the size standards as per the ordinance. The sign also adheres to the maximum of 5 colors that's allowed on the ordinance as well. The southerly side of the sign, which is, it's located 265.4 feet from the northerly right-of-way line of Upper Pond Road. It is not visible from Upper Pond Road due to the existing topography, and there's basically a retaining wall that's on the north side of the existing pond. There's probably about a 25 to 30 foot difference in elevation, so the sign will not be visible from Upper Pond Road. The existing sign on the south side, again, there is an existing sign within a landscape island in front of the entrance, which will be shifted approximately 100 feet to the west. And the new proposed sign will be put in the exact same place within the island. With regards to the north sign, it's an internal sign. It's on the north side of the center building. It's basically in the courtyard for the building, and it's in the center of the site. It is not visible from any of the adjacent properties. It's set basically 380.99 feet from the easterly side of the right-of-way of Interface Parkway. The proposed sign is will promote wayfinding on the site due to the multiple buildings, so you have employees, you have visitors, you have delivery people can identify the location of the building where they're basically coming to. And the sign is basically internal to the site, so there will be basically no substantial detriment to the public good.
So this is for internal direction from those rather large parking lots, and that you're navigating the campus, is that true?
Yes, it is.
And it identifies the location of the doors where you're supposed to be walking to on these rather large buildings?
That is correct.
Do you think that helps improve the safety of the site?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
And these signs are for whom? For whom? Delivery trucks and?
Teva.
You don't have a lot of people visiting.
Teva's the tenant on the site? Yes. And yeah, it's basically for employees, visitors, FedEx who would come to the site and make deliveries and things of that nature.
So this site, all the signs, none of them affect any residential or any driving, no distractions, nothing?
That's correct.
Okay.
Are they lit?
No. No,
None
sir.
of them are lit.
Well, the 2 proposed signs are not lit, no.
Any other questions by the board?
Nope.
Is there any current signage on the building?
There is one building mounted sign on the south side of the center building.
But there's nothing to designate Teva.
That sign is a building mounted sign that does say Teva.
Oh, okay. And is that less visible than these signs for me?
It's about the same, no visibility. Not from Upper Pond Road, you can't see it from Upper Pond Road.
They're about 300 feet from the property line, aren't they?
Yes.
Why are you here, Mr.? No.
Any other questions by the board? Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given? Hear none, see none.
Further, Mr. Chairman, I'll rely on the testimony as given.
Are there any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application, in support of this application? I hear none, see none. Do we need a conference?
No.
Somebody make a comment, that affirmative comment on this?
Well, I mean, we're having signage to help the employees and delivery people in a thriving business within our community. It's not affecting any residents or distraction to any drivers. I'll be voting in favor of this request.
Thank you. Volunteer to frame a resolution?
Application.
Do it.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Kaplan.
Go ahead,
All
Kevin.
right. Application number 2159, Teva Pharmaceutical, located at 400 Interpace Parkway, Block 136, Lot 43.05, in the SED-5 zone. I recommend that we grant the C variance to install the signage as described.
Second.
Any discussion? Nora, call the roll.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yes.
Parikh.
Yes.
Prasad.
Yes.
Ready.
Yes.
Snyder.
Yes.
Willing.
Yes.
Eric.
Yes. Results of variance is granted. Memorialize this at our first meeting in December.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you.
Are you staying here?
Okay. We are calling case number 2153, Area Village. D variance for a doggy daycare facility. Mr. O'Neill, you got tired bringing us a senior citizen daycare? You're kind of going in a different direction.
Bringing any samples tonight?
You know, I was criticized for not bringing dogs by my client, Mr. Kaplan, so thank you for that.
That's an easy sell.
Oh, boy, okay.
Just ask Ms. Patel to join me up here and get started. This is the existing area village on Route 46. This is going to be a dog daycare and overnight stay kennel operation in the basement of that building. It's going to be self-enclosed, all contained within the buildings. Here to describe that is the principal of Area Village and also the operator of the dog daycare center, Ms. Patel, who is to my right. I ask that she be sworn.
Ma'am, you raise your right hand, you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board is true self you got?
Yes.
And for the record, can you state and spell your name?
Rupal Patel, Rupal, Patel, Patel.
Are you the owner of this building?
Yes.
Thank you, you're sworn.
Thank you. Ms. Patel, you're also going to be the operator of the dog facility?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you explain for the board exactly what it is you're going to be doing there?
It's a doggy daycare and a boarding facility.
You're going to be taking in dogs for the day and also overnight or extended stays. Is that true?
Correct.
About how many dogs in total will you be servicing in this facility?
So for overnight, there are 64 kennels, but during the daytime, there will be some dogs that may come just for daycare, and that we could possibly have up to 100 dogs.
So let's walk the board through the operations a little bit. How is it that you plan to receive the dogs in the morning or whatever?
So in the morning, as a client drops off the dogs, there's an app which when they pull into the parking spot, that will alert our handlers and the trainers, which will go out. It's like a doggy valet. So the clients can stay in the car, the handlers will go out to the car, pick up the pet, and bring them into the building, and the same for pickup. They'll alert us when they're outside with the app, and the trainers will bring the dogs back to the car so that clients don't have to get in and out, and the dogs are handled with professional trainers the whole time.
About how many staff members will you have there on this?
About 8 staff members.
And what hours of operation are you proposing for your staff?
Well, it would start at 6 a.m. and it would go up until 8 p.m.
There's 2 shifts during the day?
Yes, there are 2 shifts. The first shift is from 6 to 2, and the second shift is from 1 to about 7, but the last person will be there until 8 o'clock.
7 days a week?
Yes, sir.
Nobody's there overnight?
I'm sorry?
Nobody's there overnight?
No, it's going to be monitored by cameras, but we do have somebody that will be looking over the cameras at nighttime.
But there could be up to 100 dogs within the facility.
Could be, not likely, I'm just giving
Okay,
worst, like
but it could be.
highest case.
Well, the overnight was 64, you said?
Yes, sir. And there's two doggy play areas as well that,
Well,
for
they wouldn't
daycare and
They
exercise.
wouldn't be used overnight, right?
No, no, no. They would only, the
Just the
64
64
in the
cages.
kennels, yes.
So what happens if there's an emergency?
So if there's an emergency, like we do have somebody that's going to be on staff to monitor the cameras, depending on what type of emergency, if it's a fire-related emergency, the entire building is sprinklered and it alerts the fire department and fire, crew comes on board immediately. But if there is a doggy-related emergency, then we would take the dog to the vet. But if it's a smaller, related emergency, all of the staff is trained accordingly to handle the dogs in basic emergency care.
So the overnight camera watcher, is that person staying up all night watching the cameras, or they just have access, should they need access?
No, they will be up watching the cameras to make sure there's no issues whatsoever. Yes,
Are they watching from their home or in the facility?
from home. They'll be watching from home.
How far is the home?
Well, it's all monitored on camera, so they would be able to watch it from home. But the home could be anywhere from like 5 minutes to 10 minutes away.
Is that standard operating procedure for kennels, is that there's not someone 24/7?
Yes, that's actually, majority of kennels are, they close the doors at 8 o'clock. Nobody's usually on site until 6 a.m. whenever the facility opens. About 80% of kennels operate this way.
How close is it to any residential?
We are, I guess, next to Troy Road, and then across the street from Troy Road, there are some residential houses. Yes, there are,
Behind the building,
behind the building.
Would you say a couple hundred feet?
right across the street.
Yeah. Across the street. Now,
I know where it is, I know exactly, I wanted to get a number on the record, a couple hundred feet, 100 feet? Okay, fine, thank you.
Is there any outside exercising for these dogs, or is it totally in the building?
We have created the operations to be completely inside the building. All the exercise, potty breaks, feeding, everything. We have a pretty sizable lower level space that can accommodate all this.
Mr. McNutt will walk the board through the entire layout of the facility and the operation of the room, so he'll be our next witness.
How about with regard to licensing?
Mr. Patel, license?
Yes, everybody is licensed who is operating.
The facility, it's a kennel, does that have to be licensed?
Yes.
And do you have a license for it?
It will be licensed,
So this
yes.
would be subject to being licensed?
Yes, sir.
And with regard to the waste, do you have an approved does DP have to approve your waste, site?
So there's a gentleman that can go through all the air circulation, the waste, and all the mechanical part of it. But yes, it's all accounted for properly.
Is this your only, operation, or do you have other kennels?
So my family owns other kennels in Georgia, but this will be my first operation. But I've worked in kennels ever since I was like 15 years.
Will anybody be giving any testimony on the noise at night and whether neighbors, whether across the street or not, will be able to hear that?
Mr. McNutt will walk you through how that's insulated by the building.
Thank you, sir.
I do have one more question for Ms. Patel. There's requirements under Chapter 91 of the local ordinances regarding kennels. You fully intend to comply with those, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
I have no further questions for this witness.
I have a question. Is the basement being used right now for something?
Just storage right now. There's no operation right now.
And how big is the basement?
5,000 square feet.
What's on the first floor?
Well, the entire building's used for my dance company right now. So we have dance classes, and in the basement are costumes. So I'll be moving all my costumes out of the basement and putting in the doggy daycare. Now we are operating the building and putting in tenants in there. Well, me being the tenant.
Where are you walking the dogs?
Indoors. So indoors, there's a play area where the dogs will get exercise. There's like time periods where the dogs get to be in the play area and exercised. But as of right now, we don't have them outside. Everything is operating indoors.
As of now.
Wait, what does that mean?
Well, meaning, yes, now.
No.
Studio?
Does that mean you plan on?
No, we don't plan on it. Earlier, we thought maybe we'll do it outside, but then when we spoke to a lot of other owners and operators in the city and some of the places that have a lot more, like neighbors around, they said it works perfectly fine indoors, and it's worked really well. So then that's why we moved everything indoors. So it's fully indoors.
So the first floor is going to be still the dance studio, and the basement's going to be the doggy daycare.
Yes.
Is there any concern about canine fears among your clientele that's currently in your dance studio as people ingress and egress the property?
I would say like they're never going to really cross because the dogs are going to be exiting a different way from the back, whereas the students come in from the front. So there's really very little crossover of people. They really won't see many people in the front.
And there's no concern from you in regards to, should an unfortunate situation happen where a dog breaks from a leash, you're right at 46, and there's a lot of traffic that could potentially hit and kill the dog?
We spoke about that actually, and the busiest hour from our experience has been from in the morning from 7 to 8 in the morning, and then in the evening from about, I would say 5 to 6 p.m. So once we know that busy time is going to come, and I'm just saying from the worst case, like this is a startup operation, so it's going to be a while before we even get to that busy time. But at that busy time, there'll be 2 people that will be taking, like there'll be an administrative person that's going to be there doing the intake and giving back the dogs, whereas the handler also is going to be there. So there'll be 2 people, and the owner will be in the car to be safe.
I get that, but there's no concern. I live on a busy road, I've got 2 dogs.
Yes.
It's a daily concern that a dog can just make the mad dash, and this is Route 46, right? So, I think we got, what, 2 lanes in that they can make that mad dash. 2 lanes, thank you, Mr. O'Neill.
Yes. Well, each dog's going to be taken out one at a time, and I believe the handlers are professionals to be able to handle the dogs. It's unlikely, but we will prepare for the worst case scenario.
Thank you.
So if I'm dropping off a dog, do I have it on a leash and I bring it in, or is it picked up from the car?
Yes, so the handler will come to the car and pick up the dog from you, so you wouldn't be going inside. This became popular during the COVID time where, clients weren't allowed inside buildings. So then the valet system started, and it became super popular, and it worked out better for
Are
everybody.
they picking it up on a leash? Or
On a leash. They will always be on a leash.
and the dogs aren't going to be nervous and release themselves or do anything on the grass going into the building?
It's highly unlikely. Usually the dogs are, like the trainers know how to handle the dogs, and every worker is extensively trained for dogs and how to handle them. So I believe that should be.
Are you talking about having a potty accident?
Yeah, or just, normally dogs,
Well, there's no grass. There's no grass in that area. It's parking lot and building.
There is grass. I have a good more than 40 feet, I want to say, buffer between the building, it's all grass, a bunch of trees, and then the back road.
Right, but the area where the trainer is going to be picking up the pup from the owner's car, it's all parking lot there.
So
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
so, yeah.
All right, so there's no grass. So if there's an accident, it's on the asphalt and.
So we would clean that up. I mean, it's my building at the end of the day,
Right.
so I want to make sure it's nice and clean.
And so somebody calls ahead and says, I'm here for Spot, and you bring Spot to the car.
Correct.
You like that?
Yeah.
Are there any outstanding issues with regard to prior approvals on this site?
We did receive a notice that there are some issues still outstanding from the prior approval, and of course, those will need to be addressed and taken care of prior to this approval being finalized.
And one of your experts will go through those?
We hadn't planned on going through those, but we will acknowledge that those issues need to be resolved.
Okay, that's fine.
Those were agreed to as part of the prior application. They're outstanding items regarding some building issues, some cracked concrete, et cetera. That all needs to be taken care of.
So it'll be subject to this, any relief requested here?
Yes, definitely.
Any other questions by the board?
Yeah, approximately how long does it take for a car to come in, give, the dog is taken away and then the car leaves? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
No, 3 to 4 minutes.
3 to 4.
3 to
And
4.
potentially there can be about 30 to 40 cars come in hour and a half in the morning.
In the morning, 3 to 4 minutes, possibly, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Are you doing grooming services?
So the grooming is mainly, it's primarily a boarding facility and a daycare, but we do have grooming for dogs that stay for more than 3 days, just to keep them clean. So there are groomers there for the pups that are there on site.
But that isn't the main function, that's just
That's not the main function, no, sir.
accessory to overnight stay.
Correct.
Okay.
And did I miss it, but did anybody ask if there's any breed restrictions?
Breed restriction?
Breed restriction,
Breed restrictions,
size of dogs, whatever.
kinds of dogs, you don't allow Rottweilers or whatever the case may be?
I mean, from my experience, we haven't had restrictions.
Okay.
We've had good experience, so.
Is there any special way or contingencies you have to take to be responsible for dogs that become aggressive?
Yes, I mean, so whenever a new dog comes to the facility, there's a temperament test. So upstairs, like on the first floor, we do have 2 holding areas where the dogs are taken under a temperament test. So before they're introduced to the facility or taken in the facility, they're first approved to make sure that they're allowed and the temperament is good for the play and to be there, or whether they need to be alone.
So I thought you said the dogs would never go upstairs with the dancers.
So that's the first floor. Anybody who's walking in, you can walk into the first floor, but it's a separate entryway. And then from there, they go down to the basement. So that shop itself has entrance into the basement. So that's where they'll go downstairs to the basement.
This is for the initial intake only.
Correct, just to take the dogs inside. So they'll walk into that one shop, which is it's a smaller shop. It's about 800, 700 square feet. But that's how they get into the building and then go downstairs.
So this temperament test is essentially done in a separate
Upstairs.
wall. It's totally unrelated to the dance studio. You can't even see the dance studio.
No, sir. So the dance studio's on one side of the building, the dog's on the other side of the building. And when they go in, the temperament is there's 2 rooms for the temperament test where they'll be checked out to make sure they fit with the facility and the other dogs.
How far are the entrances to the dance studio versus that temperament area?
Pretty far. I would say, if I'm looking at the building, if the building is this big, my dance studio is here, the doggy daycare is here. It's kind of like.
So how many feet?
Position in the building.
How big's the building?
Well, the planner can go through the.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's say there's 10 shops. If I have 10 shops, 10 bays, the 3rd bay is the dance studio, and the 9th bay would be the doggy daycare. So there's a good 6 shops in between.
Mr. McDonald.
Okay.
Okay.
Could you explain what the quiet cottage is? The plan says quiet cottages.
So that's the temperament test area, the quiet cottage temperament test.
Are there any proposed improvements for the site work, like line striping, for the parking lot?
Yes, so up till now, the building has been operating just as my dance studio because we outgrew the space on the top floor and we were using the space on the first space. So it's pretty much been just the dance studio and the storage for my costumes. So this will be kind of like the first tenant that moves into the building, though it's still me that's involved in it. But now because we will be having more people coming to the studio, we'll be restriping there's quite a little bit a list of things that need to be done.
Right, I wanted the engineer's office of DPW had a bunch of items that were on the punch list that were fixed since the original approval, so I just wanted to follow up on that. What are your plans with the?
I do want to complete it because now we'll finally have a construction crew back on the site, so they'll be able to complete what was left behind.
That whole, pardon me?
Is that the planner? Can the planner answer those? I don't know that you're
Mr. McNutt
client.
can answer, but the issues you're describing are what we're gonna have to address prior to the opening of the dogs too.
Correct, yeah, that's what I wanted, the timing was what I wanted to discuss. Great.
All that will be addressed before this.
Okay, thank you.
Premises.
Right, Mr. O'Neill brought that to my attention, and they're not major things, but can be done while everything is being prepared for,
Thank you.
the site.
Any other questions by the board?
Nope.
Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given this evening? I hear none, see none.
Thank you, Mr. McNutt. Thank you. I was gonna ask you if they're gonna teach the dogs to dance. No, obviously.
Sir, could you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the board is true self you got?
I do.
For the record, can you state and spell your name?
My name is Ryan McNutt, R-Y-A-N, M-C, capital N-U-T-T.
And you are going to provide planning testimony.
Planning and just expert analysis or expert on the animal care. It's our specialty as an architect.
So architectural as well. And all your licenses are in full force and effect?
Yes.
And you're licensed in this state and other states?
Our firm is licensed in this state and other states. Personally, I am licensed in Ohio.
Okay. And you've been qualified before in New Jersey as an expert?
I've done other work in this state as well as other states.
Mr. Chairman, I believe he's qualified as an expert and sworn.
Mr. McNutt, don't sit down, because we're gonna go through that plan.
I appreciate everyone's time and everything. It's like a duty, really do appreciate it.
So, Mr. McNutt, could we, using the plans that were provided to the board, could you walk the board please through the layout?
No, I'm happy to hold it and I can.
Yeah, we have it.
Come on, mate, you still reason?
Walked away.
Why don't you walk us through that, just to orient the board where you're at? You need to use the microphone. You can take it out of the folder.
Well, hopefully I can talk loud enough. If everyone can hear me.
No, we're recording this show.
No.
All right. This is on the table. All right, so this is the front of the entrance, the front of the building up here. And this is if we were to, so this is on the first floor, the main level, street level. So there is a small space that is on that first floor, and that's where some of the confusion was. There, if we do have walk-ins, they can be brought into this temperament area and then taken down to the lower level. Other dogs or clients that they're familiar with and stay here consistently, they will have appointment pickup and valet, and they'll be walked to the back of the building and taken straight downstairs, so they would not be coming through the front doors where there might be other dogs or like the temperament cages.
So there is an entrance to the back, through the back way.
Correct, yes.
Who uses the elevator?
Who uses the elevator?
The elevator, is that?
So for the elevator, like the dogs will be going up and down the stairs.
Microphone.
There's I'm sorry. For the most part, like they'll be going up and down the stairs, but just in case if there's an elderly dog that may not be able to go up and down the stairs, they can use the elevator if need be, but it won't be really used for the daily purpose.
Good.
Okay, so now we have the lower level. You'll see on this side, we have 2 day camps. Those are the play areas. So about 3 times a day for 20 minutes, we'll have different dogs in those play areas. The dogs and the trainers understand which dogs get along and play well together. So the dogs are happy to be playing. They're enjoying their time. And then we have,
How large is that area? Excuse me. How large are these areas?
those areas are between 650 to 700 square feet each. And then we have,
These are two areas. I'm a little confused on it. Why?
so we have one area up here, these are in the lower level, and then another one down in
This is
the,
on the lower level.
yeah, they're both in the lower level.
All the dog operations are contained on the lower level except for
in the basement.
initial intake. Isn't that true,
Yeah.
Mr. McNutt?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
So I'm confused there, okay? So I'm looking outside the facility. I have my dog. I'm trying to get the proximity of this from the dance studio. So the dance studio, let's just say, is going right, the dance studio customers. Where am I? Well, I'm staying in my car. The trainer's coming out, taking my dog. Again, I'm going walk me through the pedestrian pathway from my car to the building, through check-in, and its proximity to the dancers.
So, you would pull up straight in front of where the doggy daycare is, and you'll just walk literally 5 feet to the door. And that's where the entrance is to the doggy daycare. But about 50, 60 feet on the other side of the building is where the dancers enter. And they're quite far from...
The same side of the building, the same side, okay, because I got a little confused over that side door you're outlining.
For the walk-ins, we'll go straight in, but the handlers, they'll come from the back and take the dog back the other side of the building. So they're going to avoid all the traffic. They're going to go from the end of the building.
What's the ratio of people who are walking in with their dogs versus the handlers going to the side and going down?
So pretty much the first time somebody comes to the building, we'll be walking in because they'll probably see the facility for the first time. But once the second time is there, they won't be walking in anymore. They will be informed how the valet system works, and we're going to encourage everybody to use the valet because we have full control of the dogs.
So do the majority of your clientele call first and try to ask for your rates, or do they just walk in unexpected?
They will call our website. Nowadays, it's all website. They don't even call these days. It's all email and website. But if somebody's driving by because we're on the main road, they may stop by. But majority these days, it's all website and just booking online or calling through the online app.
So 90% of the influx of clientele
will be
expected customers who will have the handlers come out to the door and then go through that side door.
Correct. So that majority will 90% more
Is it
than
90? Is it 95? Is it 98?
I would say minimum of 90%, could be up to 95%, but nobody's going to want to walk out if somebody's going to come get the dog. And majority of the time, they're happy to just stay in the car while the handlers come and get the dog. But if it's a first-time client, they may want to walk inside and talk to the team to ask questions. And another thing I know that, which is a very valid point because they're my students, the dancers, the hours are so very vastly different. There will be no dancers in the building in the morning. My hours for the dancers is 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at night, whereas the doggy daycare hours are early in the morning and probably between 5 and 6 o'clock. So they hardly will ever come across the dancers during those hours.
So I'm sure you understand, I know my concern, and it seems like my fellow board members are concerned, that mom is coming along with a dancer, bringing them in, someone's walking the dog in, oh, what a cute dog, and, we're trying to avoid that.
Yes.
Well, they're giving temperament tests, isn't that true?
Yeah, but the temperament test is already past the time where they would have interacted. So I'm worried about outside, where mom is walking the child into the facility, and, kids, dogs, all let me pet before we ask, and then that's the issue that I'm concerned about.
Correct, and that's a very good issue for a valid concern, because I'm very concerned about that too, because dance studio clients are my clients as well. And when they come, whenever there's somebody coming to drop off the kids, they're coming more on the easterly side of the building. And whereas for the doggy daycare, they're on the westerly side of the building. So there's a good distance, at least 60 feet distance between that. Also, the hours don't match because our classes start well into the evening at 6:30 is our first class, whereas doggy daycare will be busiest from 5 to 6 in the evening.
Okay.
And morning, we never clash because none of our we don't teach in the morning. We're not a morning school.
How about weekends?
Weekends, we only have on Saturday. That's the only day that we have, but it's from 12 to 4.
But do you have dancers?
We do have dancers. It's more of our performance team, and they're about 12 to 15 years old. But it's like one group of performers, 12 of them are there. Because of COVID, also, we limited our performers. We can only have 12 at a time in the studio. So it's not a big studio anymore. Like, we don't have many dancers anymore because of limitations. But on Sundays, we don't have classes. It's only on Saturday for our performance troupe for 3 to 4 hours. But they stay there for that 3 to 4 hours. It's not a lot of in and out.
Due to the, this is a little unrelated, but due to the decline of the clientele on the dance side, as you're explaining and the reasons, are you trying to pivot away from that and towards the doggy business, or do you intend to go full throttle in operating these two businesses long-term at this facility?
Dance is my original business, and we have scaled back because of the pandemic. It has affected our business quite a bit, but that will still be my full business as well. I do intend to continue that. Doggy daycare, I'm an animal lover. Our whole family's animal lovers. I've learned a lot through them, and I feel that this would be a good business to have in Parsippany, especially the locality-wise, and I think we would be good at it.
And so are you going to toggle back and forth in regards to teaching dancing and going to daycare?
I mean, the daycare operation will be managed by others. I won't be the main manager of the daycare operation, though that will be my business, and I'll be overseeing and making sure everything is on target. But there will be other managers that are fully responsible just for the daycare. I will be mainly fully responsible for the dance studio still.
Ms. Patel, I don't want it to get lost to your testimony that these dogs are going to be handled by your trained staff as they're going in and out of the building. So that's one of the other reasons why you've got your trained staff taking the dogs from the cars into the doors to control the dogs and work with the dogs. Isn't that true?
Yes, sir. Yes. So there's
Hold on, sorry, I'm sorry. This also testified that she does have some walk-ins. So the walk-ins, okay, how do you handle those unexpected walk-ins? I'm a dog owner, okay? I'm going to what I think is a dog-friendly place. It's a doggy daycare, right? I'm actually gonna strap my, put the leash on and kind of walk in with the dog. So what would you do? Would you say, oh, stay there, Mrs. Snyder, put the dog back?
No.
Come in by yourself. So there is going to be there's going to be some owner doggy traffic going on outside of your trainer's handling, correct?
Correct. It'll be very minimal, but yes, if somebody wants to bring in the dog to go into the facility, they're more than welcome just to walk right in. Everybody, whoever is in a temperament room will be in the temperament room or downstairs. There will be no loose dogs anywhere.
Yeah, it's consistent to what you said before, but a little different.
What if a dog failed the temperament? Do you tell them, sorry, not here, or do you make other arrangements?
Either they may not be able to play with the rest during the daycare time, or they would be only in their own space. It depends on what the reasoning is for that. Either they won't be able to interact with any of the other dogs.
Okay, thank you.
Basically, it is operated by the trainers.
Correct. It's fully operated by licensed professionals that know doggy daycare. Though I'm a dancer and I enjoy dogs and I am the owner of the doggy daycare, but it will be run by fully licensed professionals of dog daycares. Yeah.
Is that a state license? I'm just trying to.
No, I don't think so.
Can you explain a little bit more about the training and license and the people that are?
So there's Barkley, there's organizations, and so they do license the trainers and the operators of the kennels. Also, there is also state level licensing as well, which the managers would be all licensed to be able to be handling the.
So these aren't trained high school?
Oh, no.
Like that?
No, sir. Because at the end, I want to make sure everybody's safe, not just, the dog handlers, the clients, the dance schools. So everyone will be professionals, not high school kids.
The facility also has to go through licensing
Correct.
inspections as well?
Correct.
And how often is that?
I believe you'll be able to answer more of but I believe every yearly there's different, yearly, right? Yeah, yearly.
He knew that, but you didn't?
I wanted to say yearly, but I didn't want to make sure that I had to say that if I was saying it right.
You're the operator, right?
I'm the operator, but I wanted to double check with him. But my gut feeling is yearly. Yes.
If I could add to that, so Kennelwood is one of our clients, and they provide certification for trainers. We've put in touch with one of our main operators, Fiju Job, out of St. Louis. He has dozens of these type of facilities, very similar in this, like a strip center, strip area, and we've already started the contact to Evis Patel to work with him to understand what the certification is for the operations portion of it.
Does this strip mall operation, is it in close proximity to a major highway like this one is, or this proposal is?
There are a few that are very similar, where it is high traffic, US highways, 4 lanes, 2 in each direction, and they have never had an issue. That you'll have a trainer plus an assistant going out there to the cars, so you have, including the owner, as Patel said, 3 people handling the dog. And right now, they don't allow any walk-ins with a lot of them, because you either call ahead, they have signs on the door that said no walk-ins, mostly because of COVID. So you can really pare down the walk-ins. I know you want to have people look at the facilities and check them out, but you can do that without bringing your dog or walking your dog in without the trainers. So the website can suggest that and promote to limit even having the walk-ins with the dog.
But hold on for a second.
Yes.
Because all dog owners love their pets like their family members. So I'm sure some of those walk-ins are doing almost a temper test on you all with their dog. So I'm sure that a lot of them will be wanting to, come in with their dog to sense the vibe, right? To sense the vibe of how their dog jives with your facility. Right?
And you certainly could do that, but we would encourage, let our trainers plus you walk it in.
I got that, but.
And then you can walk with the facility at the same time.
Back to the strip mall, the one in Kenilworth, you said?
Kennelwood, yes.
Kenilworth, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Is that strip mall also in close proximity to residential areas, or do you have another business model or business center?
They do have,
Has a residential
Yes.
area nearby where there are no fences?
yes, they do have facilities near residential without fences. The ones that do not have any outdoor. Some of them have outdoor play yards and potty yards. We're not doing that here. There's other ones that do not have that as well. So we do have examples of similar here, residential and main highways.
Are there any extra measures you have to take for waste disposal?
Yes.
I was hoping someone would bring that up, so I could bring Mr.
I was
Duck
too.
back to
He
the
was
direct
guy, Because
testimony.
I also like to talk about air quality too.
And he's gonna get to all that
Okay.
through his direct testimony.
Looking forward to
So
those.
back to that, Mr. Duck.
So for the waste,
Why don't you walk him through on the plan where this is occurring? Where's the play area? When you bring the dogs in, where are the dogs gonna be kept? How are they gonna play? And how is this waste situation and air system gonna be handled?
so the play areas are here and here. We have, it's called canine grass. It's a special grass that allows urine to go through it. It sits on pedestals, so the dogs can play on it. When the urine goes through, we can hose it off. We can have disinfectant to spray it, and then all solids are scooped up immediately. And there's a waste grinder for solids, because you can't just flush them down a toilet. So we have a special waste grinder here as well.
That's all managed by members of the staff?
Correct, yes. So we have a waste grinder right in between both of those play yards.
So help us out with that. Can you talk the mechanics of what?
What do you want, a video?
Yeah, I actually, right, I
So,
mean,
so,
you know.
so dog waste has more.
And then it gets picked up, I guess, okay, it
So
grinds, whatever.
it grinds it up.
It doesn't liquefy, right? Does it liquefy? Like, how does, I don't know.
It grinds it up to I won't say liquid, but it is more of a soft mush.
Semi-solid.
Semi-solid, thank you, yes. That allows it to be then, discarded.
Dog parts, right?
Yes.
Dog parts.
Do you have any
Correct.
problems with the dogs
And it's organic.
then acting up at home, thinking they
Yeah,
can go
they can go
indoors?
inside.
Cream on them and you.
No, that's why it's the canine grass, because it is grass-like, and that's why it gives them the sense that they are outside.
But it's not rug-like.
No, it's not like a
It
rug.
doesn't feel like rug.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
It's a special grass. There's only a few companies that even provide such a material.
And then it's a grinder pump that puts it into the sewer system?
Yes, and we
There we go.
have special plumbing documentation and MAP approvals and everything for that.
Everything's licensed, everything's approved.
Correct.
You do it other places.
Yes, we have precedents
I'm
elsewhere.
not gonna worry about my toilet backing up because you're, okay.
Absolutely not.
So that's.
Or my drinking water, like,
No.
leaching.
No,
Right.
absolutely not.
Can we put the potty issues aside now? Are they done?
I hope
Well,
so.
we got one more end on
We're
that
still
because we
learning,
need to
Mr.
talk about air recycling and smell.
But
Yep.
okay, yeah, fine, let's talk about air now, okay?
Let's talk about air
Well, let's
recycling.
move us along.
Okay, so air quality. We provide a special DOAS system, which provides 100% air changes per hour. So we're recycling and we're moving the air in and out. The air gets treated when it comes into the building. It gets treated before it is dispelled out of the building.
What's it treated for going into the building? You're pulling outside air in. How are you treating that?
The moisture. We can't just bring warm or cold air into the building. It's got to be treated. The moisture either added or taken out of it before it comes into the space, or else that contributes to the odors. If you have more moisture or if it's drier.
Humidity control.
So it's a humidifier or dehumidifier?
Correct, all built in. And then the filter systems before it leaves, so all odors, nothing is being dispelled out.
And is it
Sounds
separate
better than
in-
my house.
Is it separate and apart from like
Prob-
the units that are with the dance studio?
It's all on its own. It's a
Okay.
dedicated outside air system. It's only for the doggy daycare. There can be no other systems on it or part of it.
And this facility down there, this is like a bunker. This is concrete and steel all around, and it's insulated for noise. So neighbors and even upstairs won't hear any noise should the dogs get a little rambunctious down there.
So, that is true, but
And let's just keep going. So,
no, but
so the groomers, you've got groomers in the grooming station, isn't that true? You want to explain something else?
I just want to say for the acoustics, because I know barking has got to be a serious concern. That starts with the design. We provide a fear-free environment. And that starts with the air quality that we just talked about. It starts with the lighting. It goes with the colors, the materials. All those features, similar with people. If we have a natural light, we feel better. If we have fresh air, things feel better. We have the same thing with the dogs. That's why we're bringing in the fresh air. The colors are all picked. It's called a fear-free design. We are certified for that. And the materials as well. We don't have steel cages. We have special materials, so we don't have all those hard surfaces. And Joe is right. We are in a bunker. All the concrete is never going to allow any barking to escape. But we also will be adding interior walls to soften the acoustics for the inside. It's similar to what they use for music classrooms. We're doing the same STC ratings for the wall types, so we're not having all these hard surfaces where we have echoes of the barking for inside. So it'll be softened, but it's not gonna get past the concrete part, is that mass. We have it above for the floor construction as well as the walls.
Can dogs see colors?
Some colors.
Some dogs in some colors, yes. And we have a small palette of colors that we choose from.
Who oversees, I don't know if it's licensure is the right word, but who oversees the treatment of the animals? Who oversees the fact that they're not being abused or they're not being cramped into small quarters?
No one until
That's
somebody
the,
complains.
no, that's the township.
That's the township.
Until somebody
Township enforces
complains.
animal cruelty regulations.
Okay.
So if there's a report, that the dog's being mistreated, animal control would come in and do it.
Do you have annual inspections?
Joe, does the health department inspect the kennels? I thought
They
maybe,
They do.
I'm pretty sure they do. I just
Yes.
wanna
and I
double
think
check.
that's a yearly license you have to get from the, town.
Yes, that's under
I think-
chapter
and-
91 I asked Mr. Patel about.
And I think there's an inspection.
First paragraph is licensing required.
And there's typically a log.
Is that
for
separate
maintenance.
and apart from the state that you remember?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
this is separate. These are separate local requirements. Approval of the health officer. License terms are, each year. It's paid each year. State regulations are cited here for licensing. So it's all controlled on the local level.
Thank you. My last question for now is there an emergency egress on that floor? Or does everybody have to come up and out, the dogs? So if there's, God forbid, a fire at the front door, is there an egress in the basement for them to get out?
There are two ways out from the basement. And
Three, including the elevator.
But you don't take an elevator for a fire. That's the last thing you want to do.
Just wanted to be clear.
Okay.
Are you testing this?
Yeah.
So there's two,
ways out at opposite ends of the room.
okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Well,
I have no further questions for this witness.
Any members of the public have any questions of this witness on the testimony given? Hearing none, seeing none.
Thank you, Mr. Pesolano.
thank you.
Sir, you raise your right hand. You swear firm testimony you're about to give before the board is true self you got?
I do.
For the record, state and spell your name.
I am Michael J. Pesolano, licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey.
All your licenses are in full force and effect. You've been qualified before this board is
Yes.
passed. Mr. Chairman, he is qualified and also
you.
sworn.
Thank you.
Mr. Pesolano, you're fully familiar with the application that's here before the board this
I
evening?
am,
You've had an opportunity to examine the local ordinances and regulations.
as well as the master plan,
If you could go ahead and give
2020.
us your findings concerning this application as it applies to those documents.
Gladly. To assist in the absorption of part of my testimony, I have photo exhibit, map exhibit. Thank you. Ms. Patel will distribute.
If you could give that to Ms. Jolie,
We're gonna mark that, Joe, A1.
we're gonna mark that as A1.
That should be A1, okay. I'll just pause a moment until that exhibit is fully distributed. Can everyone hear me on this mic, this tone?
Okay.
You need any more copies?
Oh, we're good.
You have a couple.
Have extras? Okay, good.
Down two.
Oh, you need two more. I'm sorry. Got plenty.
Down one.
Okay, I'll move into the description of Exhibit A1 then. It's an 8-page, map and photo exhibit set. On page 1 is simply a representation of the single tax lot. In the center of sheet 2 provides for the more detail with an aerial image, with the tax line superimposed. Sheet 3 provides for the land use, generally commercial, to the northwest and east and southwest, but residential, as stated by an earlier witness, across Troy Road, single-family detached residential. Sheet 4 depicts the zoning districts. This site is fully within the B2 district, but abuts 2 other district types, R3 directly across Troy Road, and O3 district as well. Moving on to sheet 5, drone imagery, taken by, Associate of John McDonough Associates earlier today, depicts, the view looking west on, down 46, and to the left is the subject property, shown in that image, that is rotated to capture all directions on sheets 6, 7, and 8. Should be happy to answer any questions about the setting. The main takeaway on sheet 8 for me, when I visited the site, was the ponderous amount of green vegetation all along the rear property line, and even lining areas that have no building in it. This site is generously landscaped in my experience. And those tree heights are about the same height as the building height at this time. So providing a good buffer of the use. Incidentally, the building itself in linear in orientation, provides a physical barrier, for the noise from Route 46, toward the residential residential neighborhood, and that will continue, if this application is approved. So the substance of the application is for B1 use relief for use not permitted in the zone. This is a B2 zoning district, and the zoning ordinance does not permit doggy daycare use. It does allow for pet shops, and a wide range of other businesses. The pet shops may be standalone only, but this zone also allows brew pubs, eateries, retail, car dealerships, car repair, other active types of uses. Interestingly, doggy daycare is allowed in the B2A district, which comprises a very small few smatterings of land in the southwest quadrant of the township. But it is allowed as a conditional use there. The B2A district, however, only allows single-tenant occupancies, single-use occupancies. The B2 district allows multiple uses and tenants. As to the type of analysis, this is a commercial use, and thus the Medici analysis is the appropriate evaluation. And I believe the application sustains the 4 elements of proof required for such a test. First, in terms of site suitability, I think the site is very nicely suited for the use by virtue of its condition and context. It has a generous basement available to fully enclose, and I mean fully enclose, this use, which is very, very rare, in my experience. The context positions the availability of this service on a major highway, so plenty of accessibility without having to travel through residential neighborhoods per se. The special reasons, I believe, are short and to the point. It's well documented that pets are part of our society and part of our lives. This facility provides care for those pets when we can't be fully available for them. So it's a continuum of care type of proposal here. This is simply a retrofit of what's already there, making use of an existing building, existing infrastructure, et cetera, promoting the efficient use of a variety of different types of land uses in the state. The application as a whole, I think, in highlight fashion, advances purpose A, promotion of the general welfare, purpose G, providing for appropriate facilities and appropriate locations to meet the needs of the citizens of the state. Purpose I, which is to promote a desirable visual environment, this very attractive development, and I expect it to stay as such with the new use embraced. And purpose M is also advanced, which speaks to promoting the efficient use of land. As to the negative criteria, first, the consideration of any public impact. The testimony that came before me this evening indicates that the site will be operated safely and efficiently. The basement is a solid and well-fortified structure to attenuate sound or other potential impacts. The mechanical systems that were described in detail also impressed me that all of the usual things that might be associated as negatives with a commercial kennel are squarely dealt with no impact to the surrounding neighborhood, let alone one that would be substantial. The building itself is able to accommodate this and still continue its design purpose as a retail and or office building down the road without any conflict for the discussion of the operations that you heard earlier. The animal control code will be adhered to, so Chapter 91. There will be a great deal of control and monitoring on a day-to-day basis and periodic basis with other external inspections, making sure that those operations are doing what we're pledging here tonight. As far as the zone plan impact, the negative criteria, second prong, animal kennels are permitted conditional use in the township to B2A, B3, and B4 zones. And for that conditional use, there are several criteria in order to pass muster. This application, just for reference purposes, meets all of those criteria in this location. But it goes further. It's within a fully secure building with no opportunity for the usual sound impacts to come from it to be on the outside area. So I think it goes, the proposal goes beyond the standards the township wants to see for kennels where they are permitted.
If I can interrupt 1 second, I have a
Sure.
question. So it's a prohibited use in the B2, correct?
That is correct.
So if you, can you?
I'm coming to that part
Okay, all right.
in just a moment, but thank
All right.
you for
Sorry to interrupt.
being alert to that. That's quite all right. Great question. In my awareness, there is an actual dual use of the building with a child care in one spot and a doggy daycare in another spot on Route 10 in Livingston Township. I believe it's the child care is the learning experience. Also want to point out that the 2020 master plan dove deep into the state of businesses in general throughout the township and recognized that vacancy rates for retail properties doubled in 5 years from 2013 to 2018 from 7% to 15% due to competition from online sales. While you can't get doggy daycare online, this helps fill an existing retail building and keep it viable and contributing to the commercial base for the community. The 2020 master plan also recognizes the need to allow for greater flexibility of uses in retail districts, including multiple uses within the same retail space with reasonable conditions. As to the enhanced quality of proof, which is the final part of the Medici analysis that Mr. Holloway was asking about, I believe that this proposed use can be very readily reconciled with the omission of it and actual prohibition of it in the B2 district, simply by virtue of this rare and exceptional design and arrangement for accommodating this use on this property. Fully enclosed within a bunker-like encasement, as Mr. O'Neill pointed out, and very well-designed, well-controlled, traffic in and out with the animals and professional handling and care every step of the way. I think that's a winning proposition that puts it head and shoulders above what, my planning experience ever contemplated for a kennel to be, which was the old model of something outside, open to the air, dogs barking all day and night. This is anything but that. Very controlled, very quiet, clean, even good smelling, operation per earlier testimony. So in conclusion, I submit to you that this is a very positive reuse, of existing commercial space. And this tenancy can easily coexist with other uses, in the building with minimal, if any, impact on, the site or the area. The statutory for relief, for this, application are met, and I submit to you that approval is indeed warranted. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
No further questions.
Questions? Questions? No questions. Members of the public, any questions? Nobody has questions. Mr. O'Neill?
I have no further witnesses, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, do I have a motion to go into conference? Oh, are any members of the public who wish to speak in opposition to this application, in support of this application? I hear none, see none. Motion to go into conference?
Motion.
Second?
Seconded.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Somebody like, maybe we can do this in a few minutes?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like it. I think there's, seems to be a need for it. I live in the area. I know that that building's been pretty quiet for a while. The testimony, my concern was maybe noise. The testimony seems to indicate that there won't be noise coming from the property. I think you addressed my concerns about safety and mixing kids and animals. So I don't think there'll be an impact to the residential area, and I'll be voting for it.
Mr. Reddy, how do you like it?
Yeah, same thing like here, except the fact that I believe this site is primary use it for educational purpose. Am I right? Okay, and also this area, the plan is going for use is like a basement is for storage.
If you're going to comment, Ms. Patel, you're going to need a mic.
Sorry.
So, primary use of this area, this location is for the storage purpose?
In the basement now?
Just the basement. The basement was just for storage.
So, what's going to happen to that storage now when you use this one?
So it's just costumes that I wasn't really using the space properly, so I'm just moving the costumes out and storing it at extra space storage.
So if this is a good use and is a good in the neighborhood, I see a lot of dogs during COVID, so is really helpful for the community. So I'm in favor of this.
But I just want to make sure, I probably should have asked more when the construction thing was here. So the current basement, we all know what a basement is, okay? But your structure is going to have specific rebuildings done in it to comply with all the daycare requirements for the dogs, okay?
That was the testimony.
That was testimony. So is the basement in the entirety of this building?
No, it is not the entirety of the building.
I didn't think so. Well, so what portion of it is it? Can you just help me understand that just for the heck of it here? Is it just this one end? Huh? Just the west?
So it's about maybe half of it, or third?
Yeah, I couldn't tell from any of the testimony if the basement was under the whole building, just this other portion.
No, it's just partial. So you can see here where it's shaded.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
That is where it's the basement.
Yep.
And then we have unexcavated on the other sides of it.
So that portion there is all now currently excavated, and what you're gonna do is just rebuild and reconstruct in there, all right, and the basement's already there. Thank you very much.
So you're in favor?
I'm in favor.
Mr. Markowitz?
I'm in favor.
Mr. Green?
I have just a question and then I'll, comment. One thing we didn't talk about is are you going to add more signs or something? I'm just wondering, there are a lot of questions about somebody coming with the dog, walk-ins. What makes them not enter the dance area, the entrance of the dance studio instead of, the entrance for the doggy care?
Yes.
No additional signage beyond what was already approved. So there will be a sign over the dog daycare door, but no additional sign.
Yeah. And do you have your dance studio right above this doggy care, or is on the side?
It's on the top floor.
And you also use the first floor for the
A few
dance
spaces,
studio?
yes.
So does that, I don't know much about the dogs, but does that disturb dogs when, the girls or boys are dancing upstairs on the first floor? Does it get them going or something? I'm not sure.
No, the sound is actually quite soundproof, so it doesn't travel down.
And, other members said, this building was approved, it took a long time to build, and only use going on right now is a dance studio. So it's glad to see that something else will come there, and it's a good use coming over there, so I'll be in favor. Thank you.
Yes, and we are going to put more signage for the dance studio. Before, people all knew in our community that that's Aria, so the signage wasn't put up, but now we've designed signage for the dance studio and signage for the daycare, and it'll look more lively now.
Thank you.
Mr. Kaplan?
Just want to confirm that my only concern is the odor. You talked about the air filter, and I'm likening that to what restaurants put on their roofs known as scrubbers. It totally kills the odor. There will be zero odor leaving this building, impacting the residents behind.
Well, Mr. Kaplan, I want to emphasize that unlike the restaurants, this is going to be self-contained. So where the restaurants are venting to the outside, this circulation is going to be all self-contained, recycled air. There's going to be no venting to the neighborhood.
He testified that air's coming in and out.
Yes, but it's not being treated out. It's being recycled.
And he testified to a filter.
Yes, as we take in 100% of the air, we are moving air out. What it is, they are air exchanges. It is filtered. It's not what you see for restaurants. You're not having stacks, or you're not, you know how you smell grease from local restaurants. You will not smell the odors. Like I said, it's a specialized system that is just made for animal care, these type of systems.
And I assume you don't want the odor upstairs anyway. The dancers ain't gonna want to dance in that air. So, with that confirmed, I will be voting yes.
And just to add,
Don't change my
No,
mind.
don't add anything.
No.
Don't add anything, please.
Take the mic away from her.
Yeah. We're gonna get some duct tape on you.
Take the win.
Mr. Ganesh?
Just a quick question in terms of how do you determine if a dog is sick and can affect other dogs? And if so, while there, you have a room where you separate that animal until it's picked up by the owner or taken to the vet?
I don't know.
Yes, so the trainers and the staff, they will be able to understand if a dog isn't feeling well, if it's looking lethargic, or if it's not acting as it should. We do have isolation rooms for sick animals, and that's how that is treated. And then the owners are notified, and then at that point, the owner can come pick up the dog, or if they wanted someone with the operations to send the dog to a vet, depending if they're away on vacation or something, that's how that works. But there is an isolation room.
I will be in support of it. Wish you were in operation. I need a facility this Saturday, so.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Mr. Snyder?
So, yeah, I have concerns. I really admire your entrepreneurial, spirit and everything. I do have concerns. I think the proximity to Route 46 poses a lot of risk to dogs.
I think that the combination of the two businesses, it also, potentially could be dangerous. And much to the chairman and Mr. O'Neill's laughter, I haven't heard until now that everything's so contained inside, and I can't picture excrement and the fumes of, because I have two dogs, and I just couldn't imagine everything being contained indoors. So I was really, I'm concerned about just the overall odor and everything else. But I think you satisfactorily answered it. I hope I'm not reading in headlines, in a series of dogs getting hit on 46. I hope, I don't hear so much about runaways of, dogs going in the back towards Troy Road, or potentially intermingling with the dancers, or anybody who's in fear of dogs, because, so other than that, good luck to you. I'll be supporting it, but I am concerned.
I'm sorry if I laughed at something that I wasn't supposed to laugh at.
No, it's okay.
I really apologize,
I got thick skin,
because
Mr.
I think the presentation by the professional here blew me away, because I would have never expected that there is such an extensive plan to put in a doggy daycare center. And
My fault, Mr. Chairman, because part of me never left middle school.
Well, you see, I've never had a dog. We had cats for a while, and they were very pleasant took care of themselves. We went away for a couple of days, we left them food, and they had their little, facility. And I understand, and I agree with Mr. Schneider, there's always that chance that a dog is gonna run away and get hit by a car. But if you've driven along that stretch of road, there's a lot of deer crossing that road. So it's anything could happen, But, I go back to when this building was originally approved, which was many, many years ago. 10 years ago, Joe? More?
Maybe more.
15 years ago. Okay, 15 years ago. I drive by it, I see that it hasn't really been utilized to the extent it probably is capable of being utilized. I don't know why that was. I always thought it was a good location. I'm happy to see that the owner is going to be able to make use of the building. And, I don't want to get overwhelmed by the fact that there's dancing upstairs and there's dogs downstairs. Now, if we have dancing dogs, I might be able... Okay, I'm in favor.
Waited all night for that joke, didn't
Yes, I did. Motion to come out of conference.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, should we authorize Mr. King to draft a resolution that you would be happy with? Is that?
We can certainly do that. I think the conditions are very simple regarding the already need for complying with the last approval, the list from the engineering office.
Want to do that?
Compliance with local regulations.
And
is a
state
standard condition.
licenses.
Yeah.
That's certainly fine.
So let's have a motion to have.
So
Mr.
moved.
Draft a resolution that complies with all the things that we talked about
Yeah,
tonight.
we should include the line striping of the.
Well, yeah, all the, and how about
Do you want to
the,
include that, or do you want to reference the prior approval?
I was gonna reference the subject, approvals and the engineer, and you're complying to engineer review.
and the 6-foot fence and vegetation? Oh, no, that was a different application, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Nor call the roll.
Berkowitz.
Yes.
Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Kaplan.
Yep.
Parikh.
Yes.
Todd. Ready.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yes.
Willen. Hurricane.
Yes.
Thank you,
Motion to
everyone. Have a
adjourn.
nice evening.
Okay, thank you. Enjoy, God bless you. I'm glad to hear that things are happening. I'm glad, that's very good.
My
Very,
crap
very
now.
good.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Guys.
So you have a party at the
Well, up till
league?
December, right?
I didn't get invited.
Yes, we are. Anybody going to the league?
Anybody going to the league?
Anybody going to the league? I had an invitation. Somebody was gonna buy me breakfast.